Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. It's Clay from Clay's Collections. And we're back again with another Goodwill bins haul. Cindy and I went to the bins Saturday. Sorry, I was trying to remember when we went. Getting old is tough sometimes, you can't remember as well. But anyway, it's been a while since we've been to the bins, and so we took our Saturday and went, and it was super busy. Which is one of the reasons I typically don't go on Saturdays, because it gets super busy. But in this case, I'm so glad we went on Saturday, because they had some great stuff, books, of course, but a few other little things. Cindy found a number of great things for us personally that she was looking for, and I found some great books for resale and for my personal collection, which, as you can see, is continually growing, which is great. And of course, the bins is a great place to pick up antique books because you can get them at a great deal. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Clay, and I do part-time selling of antique and vintage items, mostly books and glassware, at a antique store in downtown Hopkins, Minnesota. I do not sell online, so if you're looking for an online store for me, you won't find it. I just have too many things in life going on, so some things have to go. And online sales is the one that I eliminated for me. Again, it's just with what I need to do in my life, that's what we do. So let's just hop right into this haul. Let me show you a few of the books first, then I'll get into some of the, oh, you can see the head. Some of the other things. I picked up a number of children's books. There was a, it looked like a church library that got donated, because there's a ton of books from there, which I picked up some of them. But I picked up this Black Beauty book. This is in excellent condition. No writing, doesn't even look like it was ever read, hardly. And it's from 1970, if I remember right. Yep, 1970. So I just love the cover. It's very 70s style. I like to keep, for my book strategy, one of the things that I do, I like to keep classic titles, titles that people are familiar with, that maybe they're looking to add to their collection, or maybe read to their kids or grandkids because they read it when they were growing up. You know, as far as children's books, that's kind of that. But it also holds true with adult books. I also try to keep the classics in mind when I'm acquiring new books to sell, because that's what I sell. Those tend to sell the most. So the obscure books, more collectible, do sell for me as well, but not as regularly as just the good old classics. So that's what I do. And I just rearranged my space at the Pink Elephant. I got some new storage area, and I realized I used to have a large collection of the little golden books, but they've really dwindled a lot. So I needed to pick up more, and only found one at the bins that was worth picking up. So it's a newer one, obviously, but people that collect the golden books, you know, grab any of them. Dr. Seuss books, also a good item for me. Mr. Brown, Moo, Can You? Again, it's a book club edition, 1970 seems to be the theme. It needs some cleaning, but overall good. This was an exciting find. Boots, The Fireman's Dog. This is actually a first edition from 1939. So there's the title, or the copyright page, which is always the back of the title page typically. And so this one was a school library, Mount View School, District number 2. So at some point it exited the library. Oh, and here's the Curtis, Diane, Sandra, Leanne, Glenn, Dano, Kim. Yeah, a number of kids checked it out. So, well, what a fun book. It does have some linen tape on there, which I will work at trying to, I'll have to see if it's worth trying to get it off or just sell it as is. I love the cover. That's actually a nice cover for fall, you know, coloring wise. All right. Picked up Christmas books. Holiday books also do well for me, like Halloween books. So I always pick up any Halloween or spiders or, you know, witches, warlocks, that type of book I pick up because they do well around the seasons. So like right now I put out all of my Halloween books. I actually sell more books for Halloween than they do the other decorations for some reason. But this is Amal and the Night Visitors. So it's a story about the three kings, three wise men. And this is the one from that church library. This is one of several that I picked up. And I never heard of this book before. And it's from 1952. But all of the books are in excellent condition. So the people took care of them very well at this library. And of course, in a church building, it has good climate control, so you don't get the musty smell. The pages are bright white. And this is another one from that church, Mike's house. So, you know, it's a nice thing to pick up. C.S. Lewis, another author that I pick up anything I find of his, typically, if it's in decent shape. This one is The Magician's Nephew. Again, this came from that church, same church. This is the fourth printing, 1961. It is the first edition, but the fourth printing of the first edition. It's book 6 in the Chronicles of Narnia. So that was a good find. What If You Couldn't? A book about special needs. This is actually an earlier book. And 1979. So I like to have a variety. Got several more than I'm going to show you in a second. Old Hat, New Hat, another Dr. Seuss. Fairly well worn on the bottom, but that's an earlier edition. Over the Blue Mountain. I have no idea what this book is even about. It looks like a young adult novel. In Norway, I picked this one up because, again, living in Minnesota, selling in Minnesota, we have a lot of Scandinavian heritage, and these, so I like to pick up that books that relate to that. Holland, Norway, Sweden, Finland, those types of items do well. All right. The other thing, I haven't even opened this yet, but it's an old like pillowcase sleeve that I saw a few decorations in here that I thought, oh, you know what? They're super light. I'm going to go ahead and grab them. There's this little bird's nest thingy. Doesn't do much for me, but that's not what I was picking it up for. This is what I was picking it up for, this carriage. It's a beautiful carriage, and it's woolen, made in Hong Kong. It's got the label on the bottom. So it's, you know, for Christmas, that's a beautiful little ornament. And then, look, it's got a little chair. Maybe that's what the birds were sitting on. Anyway, it's a little, actually it's a chair ornament. So, it's kind of cute. This was another item, was this zebra. And he's an older one, and he's got, what's this label? Handwork, made in West Germany. So he's definitely worth picking up too. Little zebra ornament. And then there was this unicorn ornament. So those are pretty cool for a little bit. And then they have these golden leaves and these tissue packages. So yeah, so I thought, well, I'll give them a shot. I don't have many Christmas decorations to sell, so it'll be a little different. Sorry, getting a little thirsty. Cindy found these items. This is a little porcelain figure, Lee Ward's exclusive, Japan, little angel figure. Pair of little wooden clogs, and they say Holland on them. So again, this kind of stuff I pick up. I don't sell it for very much, $1.50, $2 for that. It's a magnet. Then she also found this little clover trinket dish in amber glass. So that was a nice little find. And then let's get back to the books. Oh, talking about holiday related things. I saw this book and I couldn't pass it up because this is the kind of stuff we sell. The Pink Elephant is known for its oddities sometimes. Not a, really oddity things, but we have some odd things, and that's what sells. So I saw this book, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. So it's an updated version of Pride and Prejudice with zombies in the storyline. Who'd have thunk it? Anyway, I thought this would be a great item for Halloween, so I'm going to put this out quickly because people are buying their Halloween stuff right now. All right, so I had sold, and I was talking about, the different books that I sell. Excuse me. I had picked up the Little Prince book, first edition with the dust jacket, and I'm pretty sure I got it at the bins. This was probably 6 months ago, and because it had significant value, I didn't want to just set it out, because if you set things out especially with the dust jacket, they get ripped and torn if people are tearing them off the shelf and looking at them. I shouldn't say tearing off, they're taking them off the shelf. Anyway, so I was waiting, and part of the space that I expanded into has a locked cabinet. So I'm putting out more of my more expensive books that I don't want to be handled very much into that case, as well as smaller items that, I don't want to walk out the door that have better value too. So anyway, so I put that book out less than a week ago. It sold, The Little Prince in the first edition. And so we're at the bins, and guess what? I find another. This is also a first edition of The Little Prince, but this is the library edition. So it's a little different than the basic first edition. And this again came from that church library. It doesn't have the dust jacket, but it is first edition. And this one, they do have subsequent printings, and it is listed on here when there's subsequent printings. So in this particular case, it is still the first edition of this library edition. So it has probably a little less value than the regular edition. But again, excellent condition, except for a little bit of pencil mark on the bottom. I take one of these polymer erasers, works super well at taking that off. And $35 book. So that pays for basically, I spent $40 all total for these books, and I'll get into the rest of these in a second, which is a lot at the bins, but I got a lot. And these are just the smaller bits. But when I get there, I see books like these sitting in the bins. And, we were there when they opened at 10 in the morning on Saturdays. And so I just start throwing all of these books into my cart, and I'm like, because I want to try, because I could tell they were sets. Some of them were sets, and I wanted to make sure I got as many of the sets as they had, not knowing if they were complete or not. And so anyway, not always easy to do. And I'll finish that in the story in a second. But this is one of them. This was the only one of this particular book that was in there. So they probably just threw some out. Probably had the rest still in the back, and then put them out the next day or something. So I think it was impossible for me to get a complete set without being there for days. But this is the works of William Robertson, his life and writings in 9 volumes. So I have volume 8. So I'm going to miss a lot of his life. But this was published in 1824. I'm sorry, not 19, 1824. So this is 199 years old. And the cool thing that I love about this one is it's got fold-out maps in it. I'm like, that is so cool. And look at the marbleized paper. This has the leather spine and corners, which could use some little bit of attention just to keep them from deteriorating further, which I will do, because that one I'm going to keep. And then as I'm going through them, I saw this, and I thought, novels and tales. I love the spine. Beautiful book. Open it up again, marbleized paper on the inside. And I could tell these were older. This is from 1822. Now I have, how many of these do I have? I think I have 16. 4, 8, 10, 16, 17, 8, 19. I have 19 of these. They're incomplete. So there's a lot more of these out there. It's kind of disappointing, but you know, what can you do? I was happy I saved what I saved. And these actually are in, for 200 years old, these are in excellent condition. They have wear on the top of the spine and the bottom, but all of the bindings are solid. The pages aren't loose. There's like no writing. They don't smell. So, can't beat that. Now, it's not the most valuable lot, but fabulous, and they'll look great on the shelf. So this is another set I'm actually thinking of keeping, and then replacing some along here maybe, I don't know, or I have a record store down there, but I don't have a record player. I don't know why I have them, but anyway. So another book I found, another set of books, is a set of Dickens. This is leather-bound spine with the leather corners. Again, beautiful marbleized paper on the inside. And these are not dated. They do not have a date on them, but this is a complete edition of 22 volumes, the Fireside Dickens series. These have been republished, you know, over the years, but this is an earlier edition. I would say probably 1880 to 1900 is when these would have been published. Most of them, the covers have come loose on them, but I have all the covers. I sorted the bins till I could find all of the covers. I was amazed that I actually found all of them, and I didn't know I found them all until I got home and I sorted through all these books. And sure enough, I found every single cover. One of them is the cover and the back are loose, but most of them, it's just the cover. Some of them are complete like that one. Okay, another set of books, the works of Thackeray. And this one is another large volume set, which I have a partial. This one, Kensington edition, volume 18. And this one I have 1904. I have like 14 of these. No, 12. I think 12. So I didn't get all of these. So I was at the one bin that most of these books were in. They were scattered in, they have 3 book bins. And most of these were all in one, but there were a couple loose in the other 2. So I'm standing at the one with most of them. And again, I'm first one there, so I'm going through quickly. And people could tell what I was doing. This lady walks up to the other side of the bin, because you can do both sides. And she pick up a book, drop it. And then she picked up one of these, which is the last one I'm going to show you. And she then walked off. And I was like, did she intentionally just grab them so that I wouldn't get them? That's what went through my head. May have had nothing to do with that. I have no idea. But I just thought it was funny that, she picked up a couple books of the ones I was, she picked up a couple others and put them back. But the ones that I was specifically looking for, she took. I was like, okay. So I kept going back and checking to see if maybe she took them back and dropped them back in there, but I didn't see them. So this is a series of Honoré de Balzac. So Balzac is the author, and it's a collection of his works. And I don't know how many in 25 volumes. And again, I have 13 of these. So I only got half of the first complete translation into English. So again, they didn't put out 25, they put out what they had. But yeah, so I got a lot of books. I got probably 60 to 70 books in this lot for $40, so less than $1 a volume. Can't beat that. None of these are particularly valuable in and of themselves. Even if I had the complete collection, they wouldn't be, they're $4 or $5 each books. So I could easily, sell them as decorative items as opposed to collector's items. But still a great deal, to buy them the way I found them. But that's what we had. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Catch you next time.